the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we can let her loose to have the tech conversation with our presenter today while we go through business. So already said welcome. It's exciting to see so many visiting Rotarians and speakers today on our program, as well as our student of the month from South. So Jessica, you good to, there we go. All righty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Cindy Linusar, I'm going to hand it off to you for inspirational words in our invocation.
Thank you, President Sue. As we gather here today to hear from members of our Portland Pearl Club, our representatives Dawn, Diane, and Lou, about diversity, equity, and inclusion work that they're doing, I thought we could reflect and be thankful for each of us in Rotary and the bounty of differences that help to power Rotary. So let us pray. Rotary and Rotarians join together, linking arms and hearts across the globe around our common mission and values. We have conquered much together, but there is still much to do. As we work together, it is good to recognize how different each Rotarian is. Each of us has a unique talent, dreams, background, occupations. Even our thumbprints and voice tracks tell everyone how unique each one of us are. No one is exactly alike. And in Rotary, we can take all of these differences and mobilize them for the good of our community and our world. Because you see, in the differences that we bring, we have a wealth of experience and expertise. And we bring those to the same place to move together towards our common goals. Many have tried, but Rotary is bringing the end to polio. Many have tried, but Rotary brought clean water, schools, business training, and prosperity to the far-reaching corners of our world. Now Rotary is active in the pursuit of true equity and inclusion, while celebrating and learning from our diversity. So thank you for your individuality and for our common bond in Rotary. In this year ahead, please continue to bring our differences together to advance our efforts of understanding, goodwill, and peace. Blessed are we together, because with Rotary, no one stands alone. Amen.
Thank you, Cindy. That was wonderful. Appreciate that very much. So guests, we have a lot of guests. Maybe let's start with our student guest. And Laura, may I hand it off to you to introduce Eddie?
Absolutely, I'd love to. President Sue and fellow Rotarians, it's my honor to introduce to you today South Salem High School's Student of the Month for the category of Career and Technical Education. Our student is an IB diploma candidate. She is on track to be one of our valedictorians. She's also the editor of our school newspaper, and due to her coverage of all of the protests in Portland, we have over 10,000 followers of our school newspaper. She also shows horses. She has a lot of awards that I believe she will be speaking to, but it's really hard to remember that she is only 18 years old. She is a joy to have conversations with, and just an amazing young woman, and we are very proud to call her a Saxon. So please welcome Eddie Binford Ross.
So good to have you here, Eddie. I'll call on you in just a couple minutes to share with us. I was talking to Ms. Tiffin a couple days ago, and oh my goodness, you are a very accomplished young woman. So excited to hear from you. We have lots of visiting Rotarians. I see. Dawn, do you want to introduce folks that are here from your club? And you're muted. I caught you off guard.
At the beginning. We have no less than 4 additional Rotarians, President Perry Swanson, President-elect Janelle Anderson, past President George Wright, and newest member Jean Farr. Welcome to this meeting, and I hope I didn't overdo the virtual in inviting people. Take one more look. If I missed anyone, I don't think in those 4. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all for joining us today. All right. Are there any guests of anyone? You can put it
I'm
in the,
sorry, I missed one more. I
Go
missed
for it.
one more. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, it says Pam Turner, but it actually is Bob Turner. Hello, Bob, Minnesota.
very good.
Greetings, John, and thanks for letting me join the Salem Rotary Club to listen to my colleagues talking about our Social Justice Committee.
Oh, you are welcome. We're glad to have you all.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. I don't see any other guests in the chat unless Allison, you'd like to introduce Jonathan one more time as a guest.
I will. Thank you, President Sue and fellow Rotarians. It's my privilege to introduce you to Jonathan Partridge for the last time as a guest. And he is our Community Engagement Director at Liberty House, and we'll say more about that in a few minutes.
Okay, terrific, terrific. All right, okay, Eddie, I'm gonna hand it back to you to share with our Rotarians about what you're up to and what your plans are.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I joined South Salem High School student newspaper, The Clippian, during my freshman year. I'm a senior now, and I haven't looked back since. I had no idea the profound impact it would have on my life. It was a class that I originally took because of a simple curiosity. I was looking through classes and I'm like, that sounds fun. But it has moved so far beyond that and really sparked a passion within me. Since I joined the Clippian staff and became editor-in-chief, I have broken stories picked up by professional outlets, including OPB, The Oregonian, and more. I've been assaulted by armed federal agents. I've given testimony in a federal lawsuit documenting the violations of my constitutional rights as a reporter, and I've given interviews on national TV, including MSNBC, ABC's Good Morning America, PBS, NBC, Reuters, and many other outlets have all used my reporting from this past summer, and I was even profiled in the Washington Post for my work. I was awarded the 2021 National Student Journalist Impact Award for my coverage of protests, particularly here in Salem, and I was named the 2021 Oregon High School Journalist of the Year, and I was a finalist in the national competition. Since the racial justice movement was re-energized last May, I have covered approximately 40 protests across Oregon, particularly here in Salem, and up in Portland. I have written about extensively about Oregon's alt-right, policing here in Salem and up in Portland, protests and protest management, elections, the federal occupation of Portland, the funding of our elected officials, and more. When I was the news editor 2 years ago, the Clippian was awarded the First Amendment Press Freedom Award, which is only given to about a dozen schools. And then we were awarded that again this year and I'm the editor-in-chief this year. I've also won the first place for photography for the Edward R. Murrow Journalism Competition twice, and also first place in news reporting. Beyond that, I am on track to graduate from the International Baccalaureate program here at South next month, and I was named a 2021 Coca-Cola Scholar, one of 150 out of nearly 100,000 students who applied. I've committed to attend Georgetown University's School of Foreign Service after I graduate, and I plan to major in international politics and minor in journalism. However, I am planning to take a gap year first and work as a journalist here in Oregon. thank you so much for honoring me as South Rotary Student of the Month.
Thank you, Eddie. My goodness, I bet you could have gone on and on about your adventures and what you've learned, and the importance of what you shared with the community from what you have learned. And we can tell just for the little bit that you shared that you have quite an adventure in front of you. So I know Ms. Tiffin is very proud of you. As well as I'm sure your parents and everybody else that you come into their lives. So in honor of you, you'll be receiving through Ms. Tiffin a challenge coin and a certificate as our Student of the Month. And we look forward to you coming back and just touching base with us when you have time as you move on in your adventures and the chapters of your life. So thank you so much, Eddie.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right, moving on. Trisha has bell ringers.
I do, and I am going to.
Show us your baby goats.
They're good. They're not so baby anymore. I'm going to share my screen here. Can you guys see that?
It's starting. Yes, we can.
All right, we're good to go. Okay, I'm happy that we got some bell ringers in my email this time. I love getting those and hearing them. I got 3 of them, so if I missed any, please let me know, or if there's any in the chat, we will cover those as well. Our first bell ringer is from Lauren Gutierrez. She has 2 of them, and apparently she has some really awesome fellas in her life. The first one is for her dad, Dan Jones, who received the Rotary District's 5010 Quiet Rotarian Award for his work with the Sitka Rotary Club. The district governor presented him their award, which was a complete surprise to him during a visit to their club last month. So please ring the bell for Lauren's dad, who apparently is the best Rotarian ever. And next, Miss Lauren is ringing the bell for her awesome husband. And I have to tell you, I'm going to read this and you're going to be blown away by this man. So her husband, Sean, graduated from George Fox University with his master's in clinical mental health counseling. Get this, this is his 3rd graduation since 2018. He has completed his associate's, bachelor's, and master's in just shy of 4 years. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And really fast. So Lauren says that it took her almost 7.5 years to do that. And so he cut her by half. Lauren is beyond proud of him and is ringing the bell for his accomplishments and for his future in supporting his fellow veterans as a counselor. So please ring the bell for Lauren's superhuman husband. And then finally, Adam Kohler is ringing the bell for the members of the Good Works Committee who participated in the small grant review process for the 2020-21 year. Applications were reviewed, scored, and funding recommendations have been presented to the respective boards for their approval. He looks forward to sharing the information about the great grant recipients in upcoming club meeting. He says, thank you for all of your time and contributions to the process. The thoughtful and informed conversation was very much appreciated by Adam, and each of you helped to make the process flow smoothly. Please ring the bell for Shalissa Beck, Shane Griggs, John McCooley, Tom McGurr, Teresa Lule, Roger Kirchner, Wanda Henning, and Ron Kellerman. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great. And then I will open it up for the floor if there's any bell ringers in chat, or if anyone wants to unmute themselves. We would love to hear some good news. The world could use it today.
I'll do one, and I just was so, it was so wonderful to go down to the amphitheater on Friday and see just I don't know, there were probably 20-ish Rotarians down there, but to get the update of the latest and the greatest on an absolutely stunning facility that's getting so close to being done. But it was just so wonderful to get to see our fellow Rotarians face to face, and even our newest Rotarian that was inducted last month, Elena Harvey, was there checking it out and getting to know people. So I'm ringing the bell for the fellowship and the amazing amphitheater project. Let's see, Jane Downing has one.
Good afternoon, everybody. So some of you may have seen, it was in the front page of the Statesman Journal this morning. We were very honored to be recipients of one of the Project Turnkey grants to purchase a motel in order to shelter survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and human trafficking in Marion County. Grateful to the many Rotarians that helped with letters of support in that process. And now the real work begins. The legislature put aside funds, so that was all paid for to help us to be able to help folks. But now we have to make sure we're providing all the great services to folks. And so we look forward to that and to letting the community know how we're doing and all the things we're able to bring through that project. So thanks for letting me ring the bell.
That's really exciting, Jane. So important.
Looking through, it looks like Miss Allison has
Yeah.
a ringer as well.
Yeah, I'd love to offer 2 bell ringers. One is just in honor of our staff, our employees here at Liberty House. We have 47 employees, and in 2020, we ended up serving 672 children in our clinic. That's a 17% increase from the prior year, even in spite of the shutdown and things like that. So they work really hard. And last week alone, we saw 162 people in therapy. And so, you know, we're just doing working really hard, and they are amazing. The second bell ringer I wanted to offer is just in honor of a friend and colleague of ours. And it was mentioned in the announcement for the meeting, our friend TJ Sullivan, who suffered a stroke on Saturday morning, and whose family is really kind of grappling with all of that, and Christy, his wife. So I just really want to, you know, hold their family in our hearts, and thank you, President Sue, for putting some contact information in this week's announcement, so that we can reach out with support and cards. So that's all. TJ's just done, for those of you who are guests or may not know, he's done a lot for this community over many, many years. He's kind of a big teddy bear and really is interested in a thriving community. So it was pretty hard to read that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Allison. All right. Thank you, Renee, for letting our guests know. So, and seeing none, thank you, Trisha. And love the PowerPoint and your smiling face on the PowerPoint as well as in the screen. Extra fun. Okay, Allison and Jonathan. Let's induct our newest member. I'll hand it off to you, Allison.
All right, President Sue and fellow Rotarians. By the way, I agree. Trisha, you take bell ringing to a whole new level. So I'm a little bit intimidated, but I'm gonna copy you someday and we'll see. Anyway, for all of our guests, I'm Allison Kelly. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Liberty House. Liberty House is a child advocacy center. I know that we have a lot of guests from out of town, so I'm just gonna mention that there are over 21 child advocacy centers in Oregon. CARES Northwest is the one that serves Portland, or Clackamas Children's Center, serving Clackamas County. And there are over 900 throughout the country. I know that we have other guests from other states today. So we provide, we're a specialized pediatric clinic and provide diagnosis and referrals and treatment plans and therapy for children who have been on the receiving end of child abuse, neglect, trauma, and grief. So today it is a great privilege to introduce to you Jonathan Partridge, who is the Director of Development and Community Engagement for Liberty House. Jonathan Partridge, we serve Marion and Polk counties, I should have said. He passionately wants the community to know about child abuse prevention and the important ways that caring adults can help children and families heal from great trauma. Jonathan is a graduate of Corban University and Southern New Hampshire University and holds degrees in creative writing and journalism. He is an active, driven individual with a strong desire to help his neighbors and community. Jonathan joined our team in late 2017 as our marketing and publications coordinator. And I think it took about 5 minutes for the rest of our managers to sort of look around the room and say, oh my goodness, this young man has some serious potential. I think your hair was a little longer in those days, if I'm remembering correctly. I got to, anyway, I'll take you with any haircut, but the long hair was fun. And so about a year and a half later, Jonathan became the event coordinator for the community engagement team. And that same spring, he and his amazing wife, Emily, actually emceed an auction for us. And about a year later, we promoted Jonathan to Deputy Community Engagement Director. We have 47 employees at Liberty House, and we have been working on sort of nurturing the next generations of leaders. So we want backup quarterbacks basically for, just to help strengthen our organization. So Jonathan was promoted to backup quarterback for community engagement, and, just kind of didn't stop. In the meantime, somehow found time to finish his master's degree. And we have nurtured his leadership skills, sent him to some trainings, and promoted him just 2 months ago to Community Engagement Director. So he lives in South Salem, and along with his wife, Emily, and we just can't say enough about him. He's super fun. He's one of those people who it doesn't matter what you have to say, he receives information. He's incredible at being creative and generating great ideas. He's amazing at taking feedback, this, that, or the other thing, a great collaborator. We just have fun. We have fun working on projects. He has a great sense of humor. And by that, I mean, he laughs at my jokes. And so that is a prerequisite for coming to work at Liberty House. And that's about that. So woe to anybody who tries to steal him from us. I think that's probably not appropriate for a Rotarian to say, but there you have it.
It is what it is, Allison, right? All righty. Thank you, Allison, for introducing Jonathan into our membership and into our club. Recognizing folks that will continue to build this great club and bringing them on board is very important to our livelihood. And to show our appreciation, the club will award you with 250 Paul Harris points towards your next fellowship. So thank you so much. So Jonathan, through your membership in Rotary, you can build lifelong friendships and join forces with like-minded people around the world who desire to make a difference in their communities. Our club is made up of leaders and potential leaders who are inspired by our motto, service above self. As Rotarians, we have all pledged to uphold the highest ethical standards, subscribe to the object of Rotary, and to live by the four-way test. So regular attendance, and it'll start looking regular here hopefully shortly. Regular attendance at our weekly meetings is an important part of your membership, but Rotary is much more than just a lunch club. As you become more involved in the club, you'll begin to understand the power of Rotary through expanded friendships and involvement in your choice of many committees that we have to offer. As you build those friendships and contribute to our impact here and around the world, you'll truly understand what it means to be a member of this club and one of 1.2 Rotarians worldwide. We are a vibrant, action-oriented club, and as such, we expect you to roll up your sleeves and get involved, which we know from your history and just experiencing you that's going to be easy peasy for you, right? Therefore, Jonathan, as the newest member of our club, do you pledge to uphold the four-way test, to serve on at least 2 committees, and to contribute to the club in every way that you can?
I do.
Awesome, thank you. And as fellow Rotarians, do you pledge to warmly welcome Jonathan into our club and offer him your full support in all that we do?
We do.
We do.
You do.
We do.
So welcome, Jonathan Partridge is our newest member. We're really excited to get to work with you and get to know you better. So congratulations.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here. It's truly an honor.
That's great. Yeah, we're really looking forward to working with you, Jonathan. So, all right. Well, that's exciting. That's a good day right there. So next is our program. So I'm going to hand it off to past District Governor Renee, who is our program chair, to introduce our presenters.
Thank you very much, President Sue. This is the third of our series on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. And we have three fellow Rotarians from the Portland Pearl Rotary Club who will present their club's Social Justice Committee's goals, activities, and history. I first became aware of this work when I was in line to be district governor and casting a wider gaze on Rotary throughout the district. At that time, they were a fledgling task force, but now they are a model for other clubs who want to get involved in this important humanitarian work that fulfills the four-way test, our core values, and the object of Rotary. Presenting today are Diane Brandsma, who has a BS in sociology and an MA in counseling. She has over 30 years of experience working for nonprofit organizations with marginalized youth and families as a direct care staff, clinician, administrator, and board member. These experiences have influenced her social and racial justice advocacy. Currently, she is the club service director for Portland Pearl and a member of their social justice committee and a member of the District 5100 DEIA task force. She enjoys hiking, gardening, cooking, reading, and most of all, spending time with family and friends. A social entrepreneur, Lou Radja continues to help individuals and teams thrive at the intersection of success and significance. A recognized and award-winning motivational speaker and founder of Lou Radja Enterprises, his trainings on leadership, personal growth, diversity, and service inspire and equip audiences around the world to be more and give more. As founder and executive director of EduCongo, a US-based nonprofit organization, Lou's energy is also devoted to generating awareness and support to provide quality education for over 2,000 underprivileged children in the Congo. He's a graduate of Portland State University, where he studied international affairs with a focus on development challenges and opportunities in today's globalized world. Lou is a past president of the Portland Pearl Rotary Club. Don Smith is a retired journalist whose professional career focused on the family weekly newspaper, the Monticello Times in Minnesota, where he was editor and publisher in 1971 through 2005. If we were meeting in person, I'm sure that Eddie and Don would be having a conversation after our meeting today. In his retirement years, since selling the newspaper and moving to Oregon, he has been focusing on family, travel, downhill skiing, movies, and walking Portland neighborhoods, Forest Park, and the waterfront with his wife, Nancy. He's past president of both the Monticello and the Portland Pearl Rotary Clubs. And his 44 years of Rotary service ranges from working in youth exchange as a country officer for South Africa, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and New Zealand to help establish this Portland Pearl Social Justice Committee in 2016. Please welcome our speakers today, and I believe Dawn is going to begin.
Correct. Thank you, Renee, very much. And to be called model by you, which you have used in the different venues about our now committee is great praise. I hope we live up to it today. You beat me to it to congratulate Eddie. I just heard that bio, and I can tell you in 34 years of journalism, I don't have near that number of accolades. And so I really congratulate you and hope you stay in this profession. Eddie, if you're still on, we need journalists today as much as ever. And then thank you also President Sue for, oh, and finally, I'm in the gratitude mode here today. The invocation, Cindy, couldn't have been any better. And I know Lou has already commented and others have. So let me start with this. Some names: Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Jamar Clark, Ahmed Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and just 6 weeks ago, again in Minnesota, Dante Wright. Actually, it was another death in a police altercation 5 years ago in July that had a direct impact on our Rotary Club. That was some of you will recall the death of Philando Castile in St. Paul, Minnesota. And as an aside, my sister Norma came on. If you see a Norma Olson, that's who that is. This death happened about 1 mile from where she lives in St. Paul. You'll remember this one perhaps because in the car was Castile's girlfriend and a 4-year-old daughter. So it was different in that regard, and it was broadcast on video. In the weeks and months after that, we several of us in Rotary, in Pearl Rotary, began asking questions about what's the role of Rotary in racism, race relations, privilege, and that led to us, 5 of us, 3 of us on this call, and 2 others, actually sitting down and talking about that issue. And within a week or 2, we had a gathering in the same home of almost 20 people. 20 Rotarians responded to the call. So about 1 in 3, 1 in 3.5 in our Rotary clubs. Would you be interested in talking about this issue? You'll recall, if you were in Rotary, that at that time, about 5 years ago, Rotary was putting an even greater emphasis on international relations and peace. And peace committees were forming. Peace fellows were being sent around the world. The question we had for ourselves: are we taking a stand? Are we making a difference for peace and conflict resolution in our own committee? And Jessica, this can lead the slide of our task force, if you can find that. I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, give me just a moment, and
okay, sorry.
You can keep going.
I'll keep going. And so we came up with the idea of a task force, and in the process, actually thought more. I'm going to just say, okay, the next one now, Jessica. That was our opening one. Here we go. So we developed a resolution and went to our board of directors, and you can read it there. But basically, was that that we would form a we passed this resolution, and that we would take a stand, study in areas, all the areas where bias and unfairness and lack of equity occur. We began meeting more than monthly, and we really began by educating ourselves. And 1.5 years later, unanimous, we had the full, we were granted full committee status. So we're no different than our foundation committee or our youth exchange committee. And how did that happen? Well, one, we were open and honest with our members. We met objections with a listening ear. At that time, we made it a way that if anyone Rotarians wanted to opt out, if we had a speaker or they didn't have to join our committee, we accepted that. The task force was a real stroke of brilliance. So we didn't realize it at the time, but we really then had a task to prove to our club and our fellow Rotarians that this was relevant and it was necessary and it would enhance the service mission within our club. I have to tell you, I want to tell you that pushback was modest. We certainly did hear on occasion, this Rotary doesn't get involved in politics. But we made the argument that Rotary is involved in peace and conflict resolution and building communities and bringing people together. If anyone left our club, I don't know. They did it in a quiet way. The flip side is how many came and stayed. How does this look to new people coming into Rotary? Today in Portland Rotary, we are the largest committee, I believe. We are as active as any. And I'd like to think that we are living the 2021 Rotary theme of Rotary opportunities. Rotary opens opportunities. And our service to in all the other 5 areas of service has not been diminished. Were we ahead of Rotary? No, probably a little bit, but you can tell that this is an enhanced and developing area within Rotary. In fact, that we have our own DEI task force now in 5100. The slide number 3, if you would, Jessica, and you don't have to pick up very much within Rotary to miss the fact that Rotary is making statements and encouraging clubs to be in this. I would finish by saying that recently RI asked people, should Rotary clubs hold diversity, equity, and inclusion assessments? 76% of Rotarians said yes. And only 5% of Rotarians under the age of 40 said no. I believe this meets the 4-way test. And again, the challenges are many, but we feel like we're making a difference. And I will push this over to Diane to talk about how we're making a difference. And thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
And the slide can change, Jessica, to the 4th one.
Excellent, thank you so much. Thank you, Dawn, for that great introduction. So as a task force and then committee, we collectively developed initiatives, and now we excuse me, we reevaluate those annually to make sure that we're still on point, and if there are any fine tuning that needs to occur, that we do that. Lots of reference today to that Rotary criteria, and so and certainly all of our objectives, we wanted to make sure that those met the object of Rotary, met the 4-way test, code of conduct, and that they would enhance and give guidance to our areas of service. Our initial priority, as Don referenced, was really to educate ourselves and to listen and to learn. So we invited folks from the community to speak with us so that we would have just opportunity to learn more, and in that we did not want to put a burden to teach from those who are most affected by injustice, oppression, and marginalization. And so it was really important for us to really dig into developing self-awareness, understanding privilege, and understanding where the barriers are. When we develop the initiatives, each of those initiatives has a purpose statement, so a why, a plan, a what, a desired outcome, and then a who are the point people for those particular initiatives. And so there's some subcommittees that are also part of our overall social justice committee. And we also wanted those elements to, these various elements to match up with different learning styles, different levels of engagement, and so that it was really in its purpose having elements of inclusion just built into each initiative. So I'm just going to highlight some of these. Our book club, certainly we have chosen various books that have social justice themes, and those can be fiction, nonfiction books, and that book club meets quarterly. And there's just a solid group of folks who attend that, and it's really been a great resource. Then we have a calendar that just highlights different events that are happening in the community, and also events that we have hosted. Our programs and speakers. So one of the things that has been really amazing in this process is that every program, I think at this point, we probably, I would say about a third of our programs have some social justice element and theme toward looking at diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. And it's progressively, I think this is a place where it gives us an opportunity to increase awareness among our members, but we've also, I think, have been able to go to a place where our club has been willing to be uncomfortable. And I think that's one of the things that I think has been really a byproduct of this process in our social justice committee is as we have expanded these topics and brought in speakers that folks are really willing to lean into that. And that's how we grow, right? And then we also have a resource library. So we, when we meet in person, we had a little cart that we would wheel in that had all sorts of different books that people can just on the honor system check in, check out, leave a book, take a book. And so that's been a really great opportunity as well. I mentioned workshops and dialogues. So there's some events that we hosted, again, just to bring learning opportunities for our club and also inviting folks from the community to some of those workshops. Community partnerships. This was one of the areas where I think we made some of our first action steps. So we have one of our partnerships is with Lincoln High School in the Portland area, and longstanding relationship where we have a student of the month, similar to what we saw with Eddie this morning or this afternoon. And we decided that to really create an equitable sharing of our resources, added another high school to our student of the month, and a school that has a more diverse population and different needs. Students have different needs. And so being able to highlight that and have a student of the month from both schools every other month has been a really rich opportunity. And then with that, also some scholarship opportunities have emerged. Marketing, that has been a part of one of our goals. And you know, interestingly, we, I think, have seen that evolve. Our presence here today is certainly was one of our, you know, audacious goals at the time of, you know, can we share this with other clubs? And so exciting to be here today, and also to see that a DEIA task force has been emerged for our district as well.
but also just, using our website and things to promote what our mission and our beliefs are. And so more recently, being able to post a solidarity statement against anti-Asian violence, and so just being able to use those platforms. Continuing to educate ourselves. This is a journey. It's not a destination, and there's so much to learn, and always that's self-awareness as well, in understanding privilege and all the layers that how that shows up for each of us, and so really just trying to make sure that we are continuing that process. And then I'm going to turn this over now to Lou around increasing club diversity. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Diane, and thank you, Don Smith. I will try to wrap this up as quickly as possible because we're interested in your questions and comments more than anything else. Gratitude, first of all, to President Sue, past District Governor Renee, great to see you, the rest of the club, as well as our Portland Pearl Rotary guests that are here. It takes amazing people to pull this off and to push the DEI work forward. We've had amazing champions of DEI being part of the committee that we have, the Social Justice Committee. People like Jack Bradley, people like Chris Crank, Don, Diane, and others. So it takes special people who are going above and beyond their commitments to make something like this happen. So we're definitely riding on that. Kudos to Eddie, who was here today. That was amazing. I was like, I'm voting for her for president. And Jonathan, welcome. Joining Rotary is always an awesome thing. I joined Rotary May 20th, 2008. So it's always good to see a new member. So welcome, Jonathan. And we say back home, when you take the elevator to the top, always send it back down for someone else. And this is what Rotarians do. They send the elevator back down for someone else. When you look at our four-way test, the word all is mentioned twice. And all speaks to diversity. When you're dealing with diversity, always ask yourself who's in a room and who's not in the room. And is it by design or is it by default? Is it visible diversity as well as invisible diversity? These are the questions that we're asking ourselves. How, when we're looking around our club, when we're looking at our membership, we ask ourselves those questions. Who's in a room and who's not? And why? And what do we do about it? And then equity. It's about guaranteeing fairness. And if you look at the four-way test, you see fairness brought up again. So this is built in. This is nothing new at all. Equity is built in what it means to be a Rotarian. How do you guarantee fairness for all? So you look at all your practices, you look at all of the policies, you look at, where you have your meetings, price point, everything. You basically comb through everything it is to be a Rotarian and just make sure it passed the equity tests. And then inclusion. Inclusion is just all about belonging. It's one thing to say hello to me, it's another to say welcome to me. And so what are some of the things that we're doing to ensure that everyone feels like they belong? Rotary was created with them in mind. We can look just back a few years. 1987, the US Supreme Court had to rule in to ensure gender equity within Rotary. I mean, that was on May 4th. Again, that shows you, as big as that is, some of the steps that it takes to make sure that the word all actually means all. And so for our work, we put together a DEI survey that our entire club went through to get both quantitative and qualitative data on how we're doing, and also asking for feedback on ways that we can improve. And then that way, we get a pulse of what our club membership is feeling, and also curate and tailor our initiatives and programs to match some of the important things that folks are wanting to see happen, and doing it in a way that is to increase the club diversity, to make sure equity is part of the conversation, and to make sure that inclusion is indeed the outcome for all Rotarians. We say when you stir from the bottom of the pot, the entire recipe turns out just well. And so that is some of the efforts that we've been doing. I don't want to go into it too much because I know that we are right at 10 minutes left. So I'm going to stop and open it up to questions. But I'm reminded, just as allies, we're all allies in this room. Benjamin Franklin has a quote that says, "Justice will not be served until those unaffected are as outraged as those who are." And that's a call to action for all of us. Thank you all for having us.
Thank you all for sharing with us. That was just really appreciate your intentionality as a club and working with each other on this journey and coming here today to share it with us. Truly appreciate it. Usually gets okay. Jane, you have the first question.
Yes, great presentation. It's lovely to meet all three of you. I had a question about increasing the diversity of your club and how you did that. Did you make structural changes to your meeting location time? Did you alter somehow your fee structure? What concrete steps did you take that we could probably become smarter by knowing? And Lou, I'd also like to know who that beautiful woman is on your shelf.
There you go. There you go.
He'll take both of those, I bet.
No, I thank you for the question. And that's my mom, who's an overachiever. You know, God gave her an assignment and she did it in 29 years and got promoted to guardian angel. So that's the work that she's doing right now. And it's a full-time job. Thank you. When I first came to the US at age 17, I was in Ashland, Oregon, and we had these multiple test questions. And I've never had an exam that looked like that, a little sheet with little oval things that you were to fill in with a pencil. And I was like, what is this? And so when I didn't know the answer, my default was all the above. Right? I will just put that and just hope that it would be, I don't know, maybe a 5% chance or a 10% chance that that's actually the answer. The answer to your question is all the above. We have looked at all the ways that we can support those who cannot afford the fees by having scholarships and having funds. Once upon a time, I was a recipient of that. We looked at, from the survey, getting feedback on ways that we can improve. So we have a lot of qualitative data that we can share with you that were suggestions. Programs, who do you bring in as speakers and what are the things that you're covering and how are you promoting that in the community? Partnerships, looking around the community and people you serve and see who you can build meaningful win-win relationships so that you can answer the question, what's in it for them? Why should they join Rotary? Why should they come to the Pearl? Why should they come to Salem? If you're able to answer those questions, then that all the above that used to be a prayer for me in high school can actually increase the diversity in your club. I'll let Dawn and Diane add to it.
I think that, of course, Lou expresses that well. I think what is, for me personally, has been, so we're all challenged. Okay, we're challenged within our club or by the district or by IR in general we need to diversify. In a nutshell, we need to get more people of color into our club. And you'll hear that. You've spoken that in the Salem Club also. And for me, this journey of particularly in the last 5 years, with the help of reading and our own, self-inquiry, is we need to stop and say, what do we have that a person of color would want to come into this room? And so we have thought about that a lot, and Lou spoke it better than I can, but I'm just saying from an older white male, I, for one, have had to bring a different question or a different challenge than just we need more people of color. And in truth, that also, I mean, that also involves, Hispanic, Asian, handicapped, gays, etc. It's not just we need more Black people, and continuing down that path of women also. But I would just answer, it has caused me to think, why are we doing the things that people of color would want to join us?
Looks like Diane's going to add some.
It's good to have a journalist have the last word, so.
I actually want to open up to if there are other questions. I think Don and Lou did a great job there.
Yeah. And incorporated a lot of answers to questions yet to be asked, right? Any other questions from folks? Hovering over the chat, and I'm not good at scanning the windows of your faces.
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Oh, I'm not either. Excellent question, President-elect Chain. I heard, Lou, you offered to continue to talk with us as we go down this journey as a club, all of you, your committee, but to help share resources and help spark ideas and help us on our path and our journey.
What would be helpful to President Suze if we could get a copy of that presentation with all the slideshow that they used for the presentation. If we could get a copy of that, that would help.
Oh, as addition to we record these. I know you know that, but
yeah.
But Lou and Diane and Don, we record these and share them out with our membership. But if you do have that PowerPoint to share, that would be awesome.
Renee has those 5 images.
I just want to also just highlight, I see Dr. John in the room here, and also on the DEIA district task force. And so yeah, a wonderful resource within your club, and direct line to that committee, which is really awesome.
Okay, great. Good to know. Thank you, Dr. John. Well, I don't see any other questions for you. Again, we truly appreciate you sharing your journey and your knowledge and what your future holds. And some of my good ideas, important ideas for us as we move forward as well in our journey. So Don, Diane, and Lou, we truly appreciate you joining us today. In honor of you, we were going to make a gift to our very own Salem Rotary Foundation, which does good works in our community for families and children. So thank you so much again for joining us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Honored to be here.
Thank you. In wrapping up for the day, next week, Portland Diamond Project program is our program, and John McCulley will be our program chair. So looking forward to that. And special treat for you all. Next week is my Boys and Girls Club board meeting, so I won't be attending, but past President Larry Gray will be facilitating our meeting. So and his son and his grandson, he said he would come alongside and work the keyboard for Grandpa. So looking forward to that. So with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks again to our speakers and to our guest Rotarians for joining us today. And with that, you all have a wonderful afternoon and take care. Bye-bye, everybody.
Cheers.